All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about this trade, Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams. I was going to talk about this over on Will Upton, and it's 5 p.m. It's 5 p.m. right now when I'm recording this, and I've been thinking about this ever since it happened, probably around noon or whatever. I don't care. I really don't care. And so, I'm sitting here thinking about how am I going to edit this video. I got to look way more into the Chiefs because I'm not like super into the Chiefs. They were 6-11 last year. Haven't covered them in a couple of years. The Rams kind of similar. I know what they are. I know what they lack. I know the football team, but I prefer the Seahawks. I don't really care about the Los Angeles Rams. And so I just decided this is a second channel video, and I haven't made a video on this channel in I think it's 8 or 9 days. I've really been struggling with it because I want this channel to be, you know me. Oh, this is Will Upton. His name's Jackson. His name's not even Will. And I want it to be personable, and I want to talk to you guys, and I want to build and grow a community. I want to know you guys, and I want you to know me. And so recently, I made this channel because halfway through January, because I was like, Will Upton is dying, and I want to get my face out there. Well, after doing this channel for about 3 weeks, there was some success. We're almost at 200 subscribers, and I realized, damn, dude, you really should probably also do this over on Will Upton. And the issue is, I care about Will Upton so much. I care about NFL so much. I care so much about what I am talking about and being comfortable talking and giving my takes and giving my opinions. And it's just taken a lot of my time, whether it's editing, video formatting, that kind of stuff. And so I've kind of just gotten into my head with this channel thinking, oh, like the Tavondre Sweat, Jermaine Johnson, like, is that really video worthy? I mean, I don't know. I don't really give a shit about this Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams trade, but I care about football and I care enough to talk about it. I still have enough of an opinion on it. So welcome to the freaking channel, folks. Hit that like button. We're still trying to hit 200 subscribers. Unfortunately, it's now March, so we're going to try and hit 200 subs by the end of February, or by the end of March, and yeah, that's it. So here's the trade. Trent McDuffie, first-round pick in 2022. Here it is. I just scroll up. The Kansas City Chiefs traded cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams for a 2026 first-rounder, which is 29th overall. So Kansas City now has the 9th and 29th pick in the first round of this year's draft. They got a 5th-rounder and a 6th-rounder from this year's draft, and then a 2027 3rd-rounder from the Los Angeles Rams. And it's also important to note that the Rams had 2 first-round picks. They've got crap, I want to say it's 14, but it could be 13 or it could be 12 from the Atlanta Falcons. And we've seen a couple of trades so far this year, David Montgomery to the Houston Texans, which we've seen Jermaine Johnson, Tavondre Sweat. It feels like all of these trades have been pretty win-win. Both of these two teams had money, or they had the picks to spend. And here's the thing. The GM of the Los Angeles Rams, the dude's a genius. I genuinely think he's a genius. He plays chess years in advance. And so, essentially, this year's free agency class, if you're asking me, I think it's really bad. I mean, it's really bad. I'm a Packers fan, and we're talking about Malik Willis being the top free agent QB. Now it's, technically going to be Kyler, but, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we're talking about Alec Pierce getting wide receiver 1 money, Wan'Dale Robinson, Rashid Shaheed. These are all talented dudes, but they're not X factors. There's gambles. I don't trust Rashid Shaheed to be my wide receiver number 2. So these have all been kind of win-wins, and the Chiefs secondary is very, very barren right now. But the Rams had 2 issues. They had special teams issues, kicker, punt return, you name it. They had huge special teams issues, and they had secondary issues in that cornerback room specifically. So the way that the Rams view this would be, okay, there's no talent in free agency that would be worth the amount of money we would pay them that would make that big of a difference in getting us from that conference championship to the Super Bowl. So that's why you go out there and you get Trent McDuffie, who, first off, Kansas City moved up in 2022 to acquire him. He was a first-team All-Pro in 2023 and a second-team All-Pro in 2024. Now, I've already read numerous Chiefs articles of Chiefs fans or Chiefs writers talking about how overrated Trent McDuffie is, or was, I should say, for them. The Chiefs have this thing where they draft stud cornerbacks. Doesn't matter the round. They draft these stud defensive backs, and then they don't pay them, or they'll pay one of them. And this is smart, in my opinion, when you've got a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Maybe if you don't have Patrick Mahomes, but it's kind of similar to like Cincinnati, where, can you pay for T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? Yes, you can. Should you? Maybe for a little bit, but maybe probably not. They still haven't won a Super Bowl. And so the reason I'm bringing that up is because you got two lockdown cornerbacks. You got to pay them both. So you just don't really see cornerbacks. You don't see like two stud cornerbacks on teams all too often because of just money. So we'll talk about the Chiefs. Let's get the Rams out of the way here. He joins, let's see, he'll slot in as the team's top outside cornerback with versatility to play in the nickel. The Chiefs writers that I've been seeing, basically, Trent McDuffie was an All-Pro in 2023 as a slot cornerback, and that was the first year the NFL implemented a slot cornerback Pro Bowl nod. And then the second team All-Pro is basically what the Chiefs guys were saying. Like, he's more of like a second team guy. It's like, okay, All-Pro first team, All-Pro second team. It's not the same freaking thing, but they're capable of both. So let's see here. I guess he's got intense study habits. He's a leader in the locker room, a lot of players say. He's really thrived in the slot for blitzes specifically. He had 3 career interceptions, 34 pass breakups, 8 forced fumbles in 5 of those came in 2023. He's off a down season. Trent did not have a great year last year, but he's by far better than any free agent cornerback out there. And I found this interesting. The Rams, Sean McVay plays a lot of zone coverage, and I don't know if he prefers zone coverage or if he just doesn't trust the defensive backs he has, so wouldn't be surprised if their defense looked a little bit different as far as scheme goes. And then the Kansas City Chiefs, folks, I don't have too much on the Chiefs. When I first started making NFL content in like 2022, 2023, I made a bunch of Chiefs videos. I would literally make like a Chiefs video every single day because most of them would get 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 views or whatever, but then some would hit, and they would hit for like 20 to 100K. Like one of my most viewed videos is a Chiefs video from probably 2023. So I used to talk a lot of Kansas City, and this past year I really didn't, because it started to get to more of a, not a hatred for Patrick Mahomes at all, not a hatred, but more of a, all right, I'm a little sick of this now. Like, let's get a different team in there. New England was perfect, but they are a pretty scary team. They've got a lot of holes, folks. This team's got a lot of holes. The good news is they've got some money now. Juwan Taylor got cut. They have the 9th and 29th pick in this year's draft, so I've seen a lot of mocks where they take Jeremiah Love at pick number 9. I've seen a lot where they take an edge rusher. I've seen a lot where they take a stud wide receiver. I've seen where they take a stud cornerback. I've seen so many different Chief mock drafts where they just take all of the players. And all of them are just as scary for me personally, because I look at it and I'm like, all right, if Jeremiah Love's on the Kansas City Chiefs, because they do need a running back, Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, I think they're both free agents, and they just need more at that running back position. That Isaiah Pacheco injury really decimated that running back room. They tried to make it work for as long as they could. Travis Kelce is hitting free agency. Hollywood Brown's a free agent. Juju, Tyquan Thornton, these are all free agents. Yeah, Kareem and Isaiah are. Gardner Minshew's a free agent. Robert Tonyan's a free agent. I don't love the wide receiver room. I don't love the running back room, even if it was last year's roster. Like, I think Xavier Worthy's a talented player. We haven't really seen him even break into like Jameson Williams territory. Rashee Rice, obviously last year was kind of a wash, but he looks like a wide receiver number 1. He looks like he's got that talent. But he for sure looks like he has that talent. So they need more offense, and I keep seeing mocks where they're just, it's a defensive player at pick number 9. It's, Delane out of LSU. Like, I've seen them take a tackle at pick number 29 now, and I'm not convinced that they're going to go all defense in this draft, and free agency will give us a pretty good gauge of maybe how their draft can look, but I see so much stuff, and I'm like, all right, I get it. Their pass rush, I guess, was pretty poor. The Chiefs' defense statistically was solid. Like, they were a super solid defense, and I see all the time people saying their issues last year were defensively, not offensively, and I feel like it's more offensively than defensively. Like, they've got a bunch of guys that are just taking a bunch of money. Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, you name it. And a retool that they did last year, the tank job that they did last year, the Mahomes injury, that gives them a top 10 draft pick. Now they have 2 first-rounders, and they've got the opportunity to cut bait a lot of these older players or guys that just aren't an it factor, like Isaiah Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, Juju. So this team, I think, is going to look very different next season, and it kind of reminds me of like what the Rams did a few years ago, where after Matthew Stafford and the Rams won their Super Bowl, they cut bait all these veterans. They suffered defensively for a little bit, but they drafted defensively, and you saw the talent. You saw, look at the Rams' defense. Like, you just pull up their front 7 right now. Like, you can see Fisk, you can see Byron Young, you can see these guys, Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, but they were young, and so the defense was not a good defense for a little bit after their Super Bowl when they started to get a little bit cheaper. They had to get cheaper and cut these aging vets, get younger. Kind of seems like what the Chiefs are doing here, or kind of similar sense. This team's really good at drafting defensive backs, so we'll see. They've got a big free agent, Jalen Watson, who's getting cornerback 1 money. They can't pay him, though. They got Brian Cook hitting free agency. Noel Williams, 3rd rounder last year, showed a lot. And then, Christian Fulton, this is, pretty in-depth Chief talk, but, Christian Fulton was brought in from the Chargers. I think he had an injury in camp, and then he just sat on the bench for the longest time. And then when he finally came in, he's on, a 2-year deal worth $20 million. Finally comes in at the end of the season because I think it was injuries, and he looked good. So, yeah, I don't know. That defensive back room is going to be different next season, that's for damn sure, but this was a trade, and I wanted to talk about the trade, and that's really it. Seems like a win-win for both teams. Really. The Rams continue to scare me, and the Seahawks got a Super Bowl. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts on this trade, and we'll have a pretty busy month because free agency is less than a week away. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all your support, and we'll see you soon.